Hey there, creepy peeps, and welcome to another, well, it's a stale movie review, but it's also a remake versus original, but it's also a collab. So today I'm gonna be talking about Eli Roth's Cabin Fever, and this is in collaboration with Lizzie over at CarnageCandyy. She reached out to me wanting to do a kind of like remake versus original collab, like you may have seen on other channels where, you know, one person covers the remake, one person covers the original. Right. So if you haven't already checked out her channel, I do highly recommend that you do. And obviously you have to pop over to her channel anyway to check out the review on the remake. A group of 5 college graduates rent a cabin in the woods and begin to fall victim to a horrifying flesh-eating virus which attracts the unwanted attention of the homicidal locals. Even though this movie was written very much prior to 9/11, I feel like this movie does have a lot, or at least in my viewing of the movie, I feel like it has a lot to do with the fears of biological terrorism in post 9/11 America. Obviously, even though there's no real cause given as to what the flesh-eating virus is, and it's not, you know, like the movie doesn't come right out and say it's terrorism. I feel like this type of movie is something that is kind of popular after war times. I feel like sort of like biological horror movies like this do kind of make resurgences from time to time, a lot of times after some sort of war. Like look at the movies post Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like those obviously were a different type of kind of like biological type of movies, more in the form of like giant bugs and things like that. But I feel like this kind of has the same tone, although it's, you know, more personal. I hope I'm making sense. I don't even know. I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. Seems very relatable to the fears everyone was feeling after that event, as to like what could happen next, you know, if that sort of thing could happen, you know, just in the middle of the day like that, in broad daylight, what else could happen? And this movie kind of explores that, but it employs very common and well-known slasher movie cliches to kind of make it a little more, you know, to make it a little more like relatable and digestible, I guess you could say. I also like that this movie wasn't as overtly funny as some of Roth's other films. I really enjoy, you know, his sense of humor and his kind of like over the top, just very like cheesy in your face, gory humor. But I do like how this one, you know, it's just a little bit different from his other films. It's a little bit more subdued and maybe a little more dark, I would say. And of course, I really love the plot. It's something that like every time I watch the movie, it just keeps me on edge because I am a super germaphobe, especially when it comes to people that are sick. And I'm sure most of you guys can relate to that. You know, usually if somebody around you is sick, you're naturally, you know, there's a natural aversion to them because you don't want to get sick either. But I'm a huge germaphobe. You will see me at any of my places of work. If somebody comes into work sick, like after they leave, you see me like I am constantly disinfecting surfaces and everything because I don't want it to spread. I'm a germaphobe, okay? So this movie just kind of like hits me in that area, you know, like it just makes me like squirm and cringe, and but I enjoy it. Like I enjoy it in the movie form. It's like, you know, it's great that the movie can continually make me feel that way after I've seen it. I don't even know how many times I've seen this movie at this point. I do love the quick dissolve into chaos that these college kids experience. Like it happens very slowly and all at once. Like it just, you know, just this like a dissolve into chaos, basically after their interaction with the hobo, as they call him, that they encounter. It just all goes downhill from there. They're on edge. They think that they've accidentally killed this guy, and sorry I'm spoiling it. And they're also extremely grossed out because he was obviously very sick with something and they're scared that they're gonna get it, and it just immediately makes them all turn on each other just right off the bat, it was like that little of a thing, and like already the cracks begin to form. So I feel like that really shows like how much, like, you know, if you kind of take the group of college kids as like a microcosm for society, it shows just how quickly people, like on an even greater scale, can turn on each other when they're afraid, and you know, when they become worried about themselves like that. So all the kids became worried about themselves getting sick, and you know, leads to when one of them finally does catch it, they lock her away in a shed separate from them, and it's just, they all turn on each other so quickly out of fear for themselves. And I think that really says a lot too, especially post 9/11. I know it's like, it's hard to talk about it like that because it was written before the event. Just viewing it in the lens, or trying to view it in the lens of what audiences would have seen it as after that event happened, because that's when they saw the movie. Does that make any sense? I feel like I say that in every video.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
The answer is probably almost always no. There's only one part I don't really get in this movie, and that's the only thing I kind of don't like about it. As many times as I've seen this movie, I guess it just goes over my head, which, you know, happens a lot. I just don't get why, spoiler alert, oh, I won't tell you how it gets to this point, but Paul, you know, if you've seen the movie, you know when Paul, Ryder Strong's character, when he finally kind of escapes from the woods and he runs into Deputy Winston again, and he's partying with all those kids. Why he attacks all those kids, he's like deliberately trying to spread the disease at that point. I don't get that part. So if somebody kind of has a different insight to that, please let me know, because I've seen this movie so many times and still don't understand that scene. Is Cabin Fever, the original, worth watching? I say yes. To me, it's one of those horror classics. I know people are probably gonna get mad at me like,
that's not a classic. It's an awful movie. How could you say that's a classic? Oh my god, what's wrong with you, you stupid millennial horror fan?
Right, but it's, you know, I'm biased, whatever. It's my favorite Eli Roth film. It is. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I really do enjoy this movie. On IMDb, it has a 5.6 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 63% critic score and a 44% audience score. And Roger Ebert gave it a 1.5 out of 4. I'm surprised it just didn't get a 0.5 out of 4. If you haven't seen Cabin Fever for some reason, or you just want to rewatch it again, I will leave a link, an affiliate link, sorry, to the movie on Amazon Video in the description box. There's no pressure to use that link, but if you do, it does help out the channel a little bit. So I want to thank Lizzie over at CarnageCandyy for asking me to be a part of this collab. So to see the review of the remake of Cabin Fever, which was produced by Eli Roth, in case you didn't know, you can head over to CarnageCandyy and check that out. I will link her video in the description box, like I said at the beginning of this video. I do hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here and become a creepy peep today. I post videos Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye.